fishing tackle and equipment. Do you know, whenever I see fishing equipment like the lobster pots and the lines and the boats, it always reminds me of one of my favourite Bible stories about Jesus and some of his special friends who were fishermen. I tell you what, why don't you come with me and I'll tell you the story. It had been a long, hard day. Jesus had originally gone into the foothills to spend time with his disciples. Whilst he was there, crowds of other people joined him, thousands and thousands of people. And Jesus spent the day talking to the people and teaching them all about the love of God and what it means to be one of his followers. As the day began to draw to an end, then Jesus had fed the 5,000 people and more with just 5 loaves and 2 small fishes. When the meal was finished, he sent all the crowds away to go to their homes, and his disciples he sent back to the boats. He told them to get in their boats and to sail to the other side of Lake Galilee, and that he would meet them there at some time in the future. He himself went off into the hills to spend some time alone with his heavenly Father in prayer. And so the disciples, having left Jesus, came down to the seashore. They came to where their boats were drawn up on the shore. They pulled them back into the sea, and they set sail to go to meet Jesus on the other side of the lake of the Sea of Galilee. When they set sail, the weather was pretty good. But as they set off and they approached the middle of the lake, the weather began to turn. The wind picked up, and as the wind picked up, the seas began to pick up, the waves began to get bigger, and as the waves got bigger, the boat began to go up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and now I got to stop that because I'm beginning to feel sick. But imagine what it would have been like there in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, the light's falling, the boat is tossing and turning, the wind's blowing. Suddenly, in the middle of it, Peter looks out and he says, look, there's somebody walking on the water. Don't be silly, said the disciples. People don't walk on water. It must be a ghost. Oh no, we're all going to die, we're all going to drown, there's a ghost coming to get us. Oh, I don't want to die. Hang on a minute, said Peter. It looks like Jesus. Ah, we're all going to die. Jesus is dead and his ghost coming to get us. Oh, I want my mummy. But it really does look like Jesus, said Peter. Hang on a minute. Jesus, is that you? Jesus said, yes, Peter. Oh, I don't know. Do ghosts talk? I don't know. Do ghosts talk? I don't know. Ask him something else. Jesus, is that really you? Yes, Peter. I don't know. Then Peter had a great idea. If that's really you, can I come and walk on the water with you? Yes. Okay, Peter. Oh no, I want to now, really. John, you go and do it. Oh no, I'm not going to go and do it. It's your idea, you do it. Philip, what about you? You go and... Oh no, you do it yourself. And so, Peter came to the side of the boat, took a hold of the rail, he put one leg over the side of the boat and felt the sea beneath him, and it was solid. He put his other leg over the side of the boat and again it was solid. He let go of the rail and stood up, and then he began to walk across the top of the water towards Jesus, completely fixed and focused on Jesus, their eyes locked together. Now we know what happened next, but we don't really know why that happened next, what events led up to it. But I've been thinking about it, and I think it went a bit like this. Peter's walking across the top of the water, concentrating totally on Jesus. And I think about halfway across, he stopped focusing on Jesus and he turned to the disciples and said, "Hey, guys, hey, look at me. Hey, look, I'm walking on water, you're not, na 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 na. And then as he took his focus off of Jesus, he began to sink down into the water. Then as Peter began to sink in the water, he turned back to Jesus and called out and shouted, Jesus, help me, save me. Jesus nipped across the top of the waves. He took Peter by the hand and lifted him up, took him back to the boat. Peter and Jesus climbed back in the boat so that they were all safe. And then Jesus kind of told them off for their lack of faith. Well, that's the end of the story. You know, the reason that it's one of my favourite stories, though, is two main reasons. The first thing that it teaches us is that we need to focus upon Jesus. If we're focused upon Jesus in our lives rather than upon ourselves, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have problems, of course, but it does mean that by focusing upon Jesus, our lives are going to run that much more smoothly. The second thing that it teaches us, that although none of us are ever going to be in the middle of the ocean trying to walk on water in the middle of a storm, each of us have storms in our own lives. We have problems and we have difficulties. And when we have those problems and difficulties, we can call upon Jesus and say, Jesus, help me. We don't have to say long, complicated prayers with special words. We can just call out and say, Jesus, will you help me? Well, that's it. I'm going to go down to the water's edge and I'm going to look at those waves and the flock of seagulls feeding on a shoal of fish out there.